Insanity at its finest. Firestarter, riot maker, moon-stricken, animal in need, bad seed, untamable.
All right, welcome to OES Stories. I'm Rachel Lowell, joined by senior golf captain Will Ackerman, who's also the 2016 district champion and an Occidental golf commit. Will, thank you for joining us on the YouTube channel today.
Of course, my pleasure.
So to start things off, how did you get started as a golfer?
Well, golf was not initially my favorite sport. When I was in lower and middle school, basketball was my priority. But fortunate enough, I was a member at a country club, and Missy Smith, who was the 7th grade PE teacher, was just starting out with the golf team at OES in high school, and so she was really enthusiastic about the program starting up. And I was just starting to get into it, and she really introduced me to playing golf seriously. That's when I really started to become interested in the sport, more than just hitting a ball or two on the range, and being more invested in playing well and what could happen, and what would happen if I pursued the sport. So I started playing golf thanks to Missy Smith, I would say.
That's awesome. Well, I gotta say, I'm super impressed with all golfers, because I played mini golf maybe 1 or 2 times, and I can't even do that. So what would you say the skills are that are necessary for a golfer to be successful, and how have you honed those skills throughout your career?
So there are 2 main categories. There you've got your physical, capability, how strong, how tall, how flexible you are, how far you can hit the ball, and then another aspect of golf is your mental ability to just stay in the present. Don't let the highs get you too high. Don't let the lows get you too low. And that's an issue I've been really struggling with in the past and still today. When you have a bad round in golf, it's really hard to come back. And when you're having a great round, you think you're on top of the world, and it's hard to bring you down to reality. So it's really finding a balance. And trying to be as good as you can at those 2 categories. The pros do it really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, despite all these skills, I can't say I've seen a lot of fans out at golf matches. Do you feel like the golf team gets overshadowed? And are there ways you've tried to combat that as a captain or even a player?
Yeah. Similar to other spring sports, tennis, track, it's hard for students to come watch us. Spring is the most, I would say, academically intensive semester, and so students don't really want to go watch golf because they think it's boring. Some people don't even consider it as a sport. So but this year we're getting our first ever photographer to come on the course and take pictures of us, which is a start. In the past we've had teachers like Rob Orr and Chris Myers come by as our only OES spectators. There's, we call it a gallery, the patrons on the golf course, and so we might have family members as our only spectators, which is kind of sad. But golf courses are really beautiful, and it can be really fun watching good golf. So yeah, it does get overshadowed, partially because of the school, the academic schedule. But people should step outside their comfort zone and take some time out of the day to visit the golf team.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll see OES Stories live streaming a golf match coming up.
That'd be exciting.
All right. So golf is a pretty individualistic sport, at least from my perspective. How have you, as a captain and as a teammate, tried to sort of cultivate a team culture on the golf team despite its individualistic nature?
Exactly. So golf, we've got a pretty small team compared to other sports like lacrosse, soccer, basketball. We carry 5 guys. Each event we play 5 guys. We take the 4 lowest scores. We can carry up to 7 on our team, and so we don't have many players at all. In particular, this year, players are pretty divided grade-wise. We've got 3 seniors and 3 freshmen. So it's going to be a rebuilding year for sure next year, but it's hard to kind of cross that bridge between the seniors who kind of want to just play golf and get out of school, and the freshmen who've got all of these stresses on their hands. And so by bringing the team together, it's kind of easy because we're such a small team that we're a family. And that's the best part about it, because as a family, you suffer together and you celebrate together. And so it makes all the great times that much better.
Awesome. So now, as a senior, looking back on your OES golf career, what would you say your most memorable moment is?
I'd have to go back to my sophomore year at districts. We played at Broadmoor Golf Club. It was a 2-day tournament, and conditions were perfect. It was like 75 degrees, sunny. Conditions were pristine. And I remember I was making the turn on the last 9 of the last event on the Tuesday, and I knew I was in the lead. I didn't know exactly how much because we don't have live scoring. So there is a group behind us, a group I was playing in the first group, and coming up to the 18th green, I knew that I had to beat, so there's like a team, for districts there's a team qualifier and an individual qualifier. So we're playing on a team and individual level. So I knew that I had to beat the PAA guy by more than 5 strokes, yeah. And we hate that school. And I really wanted to do that, but I needed to focus on myself. And on the 18th green, it was a really hard par putt I had to sink to shoot 75. And I gathered the what my routine. I really tried to create a routine throughout the entire tournament that I could stick to when all of my nerves are going crazy. And I knew I was under so much pressure, and it was a good feeling when I finally hit that putt on the 18th green and it went in. That everything seemed to fall into place and it clicked. Everything that I worked towards worked, and I knew that, if I could win districts as a sophomore, I could do about anything as a senior. Yeah, so that was a really good confirmation for me, and brought a lot of promise, I'd say.
Right. Well, now moving forward, first of all, congratulations on your commitment to Occidental. That's very impressive. What do you think you'll take from your time at OES towards your time at Occidental?
We've got so many traditions at OES that I'm going to miss. And it's all been really created by the students. When I was a freshman, we had 2 seniors on our team, 3 actually, but 2 that really made the difference. Bradley Crislip and Carl Felstener. I don't know if you remember them or not. They really made the golf team, like I said, a family. They really made these traditions, like for example, like we've got like these stupid little family dinners that we go to occasionally, and one time it was at a bowling alley, and those little arcade games where you have the claw and you grab one of the stuffed animals. Well, they grabbed a penguin, a stuffed penguin, and we named him Tolf Penguin, and to this day he remains a good luck charm that we all touch him before a tournament. And Luke Sammy knows, he was on the golf team. Mm-hmm. And I lost my train of thought. And it's just that's just one example. But all these traditions make my time so much more memorable. I'm really going to miss that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I can bring some of that with me to college, kind of share, what I did as a high school golf player, and if it worked, and see if they would want to do it too. But no, yeah, it's for sure one thing I want to do when I'm in college.
Awesome. So can you talk a little bit about the recruiting process you went through for golf and why you chose Occidental?
So it was entirely student run. Coaches do not really reach out to you unless you're like the top 1%, and at that point you're looking at national championship D1 school. So I had to be proactive in my college searching and reaching out to the coaches. Missy was really helpful with that. Whenever I would contact a coach, she would follow up with a phone call or an email. She would talk about who I am off the course, my personality, how I am as a person. See if hey, are you interested in this person, not this player, but this person? And a lot of coaches really put a lot of emphasis on that. Missy says a lot. I could care less about the score. Honestly, your attitude and the way that you carry yourself, that transcends any result, even if you win districts. And so college coaches know that, and so they're looking for students who, and players, who can really demonstrate those characteristics. And so that college search was really looking at schools that I thought would have an emphasis on that. And Oxy's a very small school, relative to other colleges, and that intimate, connection between the coach and the player is something I want to have.
Awesome. All right, so to wrap things up, I just learned this new golf term called Tor Sauce. Can you talk a little bit about what that even is and how you've incorporated Tor Sauce into your golf career?
So Tor Sauce is a famous phenomenon in the golf realm. It originated, the first time I heard of it was from our assistant coach Mike this year. He's brand new, and he's a really cool guy, and he has all these connections to the tour. And on the PGA Tour, players can get really mad at themselves if they don't hit a good shot, or they hit it funny, or just something doesn't go their way. And you'd either be like, self-subordination, like, oh, you suck, or dropping your club, or just, certain, etiquette things. It doesn't look good to a spectator. And so I admit have struggled with that in the past, because I expect a lot of myself, which can be a good and bad thing. And I've learned to really, it doesn't really matter how you shoot at the end of the round, because it's not what you remember. You can have a good round here, you can have a good round there, but in 20 years I'm not going to remember the time I shot 78, 76. I'm going to remember the time I had with my guys. So I don't want to get mad at that, because it makes no sense. And that's something I've been trying to, work on, especially this year, because this is my last year. It's my last chance. So, Tor Sauce, in conclusion, is something I've been trying to steer away from, but it's funny when you see somebody else do it, because like, hey, I'm better than that. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this interview. Best of luck with your future endeavors at Occidental. Stay tuned for golf updates. This has been OA Stories.
Yo, 'cause I'm a beast.